Hello everybody, welcome to week 4 of the Sugar Crash Quest. Of course, we've got 5 weeks with one more week, coming next week. That's how weeks work. But I thought we'd go over some of the best boosts to use. Of course, the main thing to point out, it is coming to the point where, after about 2 weeks, I think a lot of us just learn, just throw on every single boost and everything will be okay. That seems to be the message, and we'll ride it into the sun, I think. But look, there are going to be some stand-up boosts that are going to be recognizable, recommended, and all those R words as well. One thing I would say is that you could look to wait a little while before going in for some specific boosts. The particular boosts that are new this week are going to be this one here, which is Momentum. Momentum basically means after 5 hits, you get a buff. Very important, because in a lot of times it will be a case of having the most buffs is going to equal you getting a Fury passive. And also there's going to be the other one, which I found to be relatively handy, which is this one here called Second Wind. But it is a case of upon taking lethal damage, which I assume to be knocked out. I haven't actually tried this just yet. I've used mine in kind of like, just put it on just in case I get knocked out, but I didn't have to use it because I didn't get knocked out. It's always good. Don't get knocked out. Good advice for boxers, for those boxing-minded of you. So of the particular paths on this one, as I've said before, the easy path is indeed, the 3-star one. But Kabam already saying to you, hey, by the way, as well, I just get my camera in placement there. That's a bit better, but that means we're going to go to one side. The best thing to do is to go against evade-based champions with evade suppression. And of course, this particular boost right here, Fight Dirty, is going to be one that will help you get through this kind of evade based path. And that's something that I've definitely recommended for this. But of course, as I did say, the main thing that a lot of people are learning is that just throw on all the boosts. Like if you've got duplicates of certain boosts, then throw them on. Like, okay, well, I've got 2 Cauterize there, I'll throw one on. I've got 5 Cleanses there, I'll throw one on. Same with Cracking Blow, Cut Deep, Fight Dirty, Frenzy. There is Killer Accuracy right there, but again, there are some boosts that kind of bend into champions you face off against and the nodes that are presented on them. But a lot of the time, just throwing all those boosts and going for a 15-minute session of all of the different paths in a speed run is likely going to be the best way to tackle this. But here's the thing. If you want to know exactly some things to counter some of the nodes, because that's the other thing as well, it's always important to read nodes. Did you know that? A lot of us forget it. But yeah, reading the nodes is going to be very important. So path 1, as this is the easiest path, it's not something that is going to be too much of an issue. Actually, it's one of the least amount of issues with them, because it's a 3-star path. If for whatever reason you don't want it, well, you should use Fight Dirty, because you need to suppress the evade. If you want to go without the boost, Parry Heavy. Who wants to do it without the boost, honestly? Path 2, on the other hand, is, and obviously the end boss, right, just to kind of point out that, it's Cosmic Ghost Rider. You've got a movable object. Every 10 hits, the attacker's combo meter creates 1 steadfast buff for the 3-star version. It's not really notable. We'll look at the 5-star one in a minute. It is more notable. From a path 2 perspective, because I treat this as the least difficult, going into, and as I put in my particular notes with path 2, is that I would recommend a cleanse. This is the block proficiency based one, so when you block, you kind of like, it's perfect block when full health, very good for the start point. And also having Purge and Cracking Blow. And as I said, one of the main things is all about power control. So with this interaction, the champion having supercharge, it does mean, enemy gets power. Stay in your block with cleanse. That means you take all the power. It's very simple. If there's a case that you're going against Black Panther Civil War, then you can basically, SP1 to do an armor break, or you can use Purge in order to remove those armor ups. Again, down to personal choice on how you want to take this on. But again, it's up to you how many like boosts you have, how heavy you are with usage of them, and stuff like that. All the other champions on that particular path, unless you're looking at Dr. Voodoo, want to take the regeneration from him, it's not too hard when it comes to this. It's just all a case of like, look, if you've got all the boosts on, and I will repeat myself again, if you've got all the boosts on, it's not going to be too much of an issue. You're probably going to be fine. It's just a case of playing into the nodes, which of course is supercharge. You also got critical interruption, intercepting the opponent's dash attack with a basic attack. Grants a precision passive, so look, just intercept. Those are the two easier paths. It then gets into a little bit of the interesting station time when we've got this path, path 3. You do have a movable object, which is giving you a buff. Building buffs is going to be important as part of Apex Predators. Every 30 seconds, all buffs on both champions are nullified. The champion with the most buffs nullified. This way, gains a Fury passive, increasing attack rating by 500%, yada yada. So essentially, you want to be able to have as many buffs as possible. There's going to be some options here. Momentum is going to be very important for this. But as well, you may look to already cull the extent of buffs a champion has. So this is why for this particular path, which does have bubble shield to make sure not to kind of rely on your block quite so much, and power play every 15 seconds, whichever champion has the least amount of power is fate sealed, so try and make sure you gain as much power as possible. A little bit of cleanse and in order to kind of like power control, a little bit of purge in order to suppress buffs. And yes, that plays into the fact of like Apex Predators, but if they don't have a buff to begin with, then they've all been suppressed as normal in theory. Momentum is ready for you, and I've put the block proficiency one on there just to start you off the 10 of being ever stonky in that particular right. But again, the point I will repeat myself is you could have all boosts on. It's just a case of how you look to play it. Whether or not you look to kind of... Momentum, I think, is a definite one you've got to have on there regardless, as it just means you gain buffs. There is at times, I think it's armor up buffs. Some armor up buffs come up from, I think, one of the special attacks and a true damage, I think, buff as well. There are buffs that pop up from time to time on Summon Symbiote, so you do get some stuff with that. Where is it? Special attacks... gain one of the following buffs at random for 18 seconds on special attacks. So you do get buffs. So SP1 rotations may be kind of like a thing in order to get buffs from time to time. And now a true sense pop up, true damage, armor up, and fury. So at least that plays into it. Play quick, get to SP1. Have momentum, every 5 hits you get a buff. It's as simple as that. And that's really that path. It's only when you come to the boss, which we'll talk about in a minute, after path 4, that things become a little bit more interesting. So, I do recommend when you're coming to the final path, path 4, is that you put on all of the buffs, all of the boosts, make sure they're on, mainly because it's going to be so important. You do have Feat of Energy. When the attacker reaches 1 bar of power, the defender gains a power gain buff, granting 100% of a bar of power. Use the likes of it depends on how you want to take this down, because you could use like Purge again to deal with it. But as well, you've got to be wary about further down the line. Further down the line will go against a Human Torch. This is why you may even want to put on the Indestructible base boost, either as well have Leith the Second Wind. So this is basically, if you get knocked down, this is the one here, Second Wind. It means if you get knocked down any time, you should come back with 10% of your health in theory. I didn't die once, so it's like I didn't get a chance to kind of like see in action. There's also this one here, which basically means that if you get any kind of debuff damage on you, you do have some aspect of regeneration for it. To give you an idea, I just remember like what that is. What's that called? Which is this one right here, Recoup. So regenerate 110% of damage from damage over time debuff. So basically, if you get regen on you, that you will be able to... This is interesting. I've never done this setup before. This was from my... It's like, it means I can just like point to the thing I'm talking about in game, and I also kind of like have my spreadsheet on the background. I need to like maximize this like better, just so it looks like cleaner. But yeah, it's just really kind of pointing into these particular things, so I can see on screen right to there, and also on the bigger screen. It's actually not that clear, to be honest, so I can go back to that. So yeah, it's all about kind of going, right, if you get Incinerate on you, then you can start regenning back if you get hit. The indestructible element for that particular boost could be an option. I don't think I have any more of those. I think I used them all. But yeah, at least gives you an idea with that. And those are, yeah, just like a ton of buffs for the last path, especially because you do have this other thing to it, which is Pass the Buck, which is when the attacker gains a bar of power, they are inflicted with a power sting debuff for 12 seconds. I think you need to, yeah, you need to intercept the defender and put them on that, and that works nicely. The defender takes 90% reduced damage from all sources unless suffering from a power sting effect. Gotta be honest, didn't have to worry about that. It was just a case of bleeding and did the job. But look to intercept and kind of throw it on the enemy in order to do a bit of damage. No issues going down this way, and I would say that it's just a case of like Human Torch is the problem. Yellow Jacket, I would say, look, if you've got any issues with that particular champion, try and push it towards an SP2, which is possible, especially if you're able to get a good amount of extra stun. You can get a nice amount of extra stun by applying, I think it's one of these boost. Is it Cracking Blow and you get a stun? No, it's definitely one of these many boosts, just intercept. Gotta be honest, again, just another straightforward one. I don't see you having any kind of issues. And when it comes to Labos, Labos is again another straightforward option. It's got Apex Predators, same things we said before, like suppress the buffs, make sure you're intercepting, and also, yeah, just kind of like keep the champion to an SP1, power control, and look, try and make sure you've got more power on than the other one. I think that's the case. Has the least amount of power as Fate Sealed. Yeah, just try to have more power than the enemy. So utilizing that cleanse may be a very good kind of like option for that one. Cleanse to power control. Yeah. That's really it. That's been the guide. Check it out in the link in the description. And as I said, all you really need to do is read the nodes and make sure to put on certain boosts. That's it. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Cheers. Check out some other content. And bye-bye for now.